So if I were to ask you what is the most important room in your house, I'm sure a lot of you are going to say the kitchen is one of the most important rooms in the house. However, if I come check on your kitchen, I'm sure I'm going to find it extremely under-designed and probably the most utilitarian room in the house. So in today's video, I'm going to give you about 13 tips that you can use to elevate your kitchen design, and some of these you can use today in your kitchen and some of them need a little bit of renovation. So if you're in the middle of building your house from the ground up or doing renovation, this is the perfect video to watch. I'm also going to leave a PDF of the good practices when you're designing your home. You know, how high should the pendant be, how wide the island should be, how wide should they, or how deep the counter should be, what's the best layout that works. If you're interested in that, I'm also going to leave a link for that below. It's kind of a companion that goes with this video. Let's get started. So first, I'm going to talk about your cabinet hardware. I'm starting with the easy ones that you can DIY kind of. I feel like cabinet hardwares are the little jewelry in your kitchen that get overlooked all the time, and there are plenty of designs that you can use, and it immediately elevates the look. And you don't have to like rip off the whole cabinet. You can still keep your cabinet, but I just want to go over a few type of designs that you can use. Let's look at this one, for example. This is called a knurled cabinet hardware, and these are super elevated because I was actually watching one of the my favorite car in the whole world is a Bentley. So I was looking at the Bentley interior, and again, I like to look at these super high-end cars or super high-end private jets, yachts, whatever, because these people are, again, putting a lot of intention into these designs. So I like to kind of copy their design and put it in your home. And you don't have to have $1 million kitchen cabinet. This is very simple. You can get it from West Elm or anywhere, but it has the texture, and it's just that little detail that tells you, you know, like, I pay attention to detail. I have an eye for details, and it's really beautiful. I still think it would look stunning in your kitchen cabinet, no matter what kind of color you have or kind of type of cabinet. It will look really nice. So here's just another one. Instead of having it more of like a mesh, this one is more on the vertical side, and I think that looks really nice. Okay, so just moving on to this type. This is a very small elegant detail that you can use. Here's another one. This one is also knurled, but it has this back plate in the back that adds a little bit of an elevated look. Here's another one with that back plate, but the inside is empty, as you can see. Let me see, maybe you can see it better here. You see the inside is a little bit empty. Here's another one, again with that back and the knurled, but it's more on the knob side, and you can also kind of mix and match. You don't have to have all of them being a horizontal line or a lot of them being a knob. You can do some knobs, you can do some vertical ones, you can do some horizontal ones, and it gives a little bit of variety to the eye. Here's another one. I really like this one, but this one will need a little bit more of a planning that happens before, and you can see how the knob itself is just this part, but they are extending this whole line from the top to the bottom, and it just it drives your eye to look up and down, creates this movement into the cabinet. Very pretty. Here's another one more on the classical look, and this is again kind of a mixture of that vertical one and a simple one. So that's for the cabinet hardware. Now I'm gonna move to faucets and pot fillers. Faucets are also one of those jewelry moments that you can add to your kitchen, and a lot of us just have the type of, you know, stainless steel or the black one, which is still fine. But I think if you want to splurge a little bit and add a little bit of a nice touch to your kitchen, a faucet would be a very quick way, because all you have to do is just to call your plumber. You don't have to, you know, rip the whole kitchen apart. This one is a Brizo faucet, and it is stunning. I've seen it in person. It is very expensive, but I remember seeing it in person, and I just couldn't stop taking pictures of it because it was just a masterpiece. It was not a faucet, it's a masterpiece. This is what I'm gonna have in my house. Once I build my house, this is the exact faucet that's going in my kitchen, mark my word. Here's another one, more on the classical style. There's this one, I think I found this picture from Home Depot or Amazon. It was $200 or something, not too bad. Another one here, I love when it's a golden or brass, because Again, I feel like it adds that little jewelry touch. Here's a pot filler. I think pot fillers, if you don't have them and you're going through a renovation or you're building from the ground up, I think you should definitely add it. Not only it's a very functional thing, but it also add that little, again, a moment jewelry on top of your stove. So that was for fixtures. Now I'm gonna move to sconces above shelves. So before I talk about sconces above shelves, I don't know if I have or maybe not. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is when you're trying to do your cabinets, try to have a little bit of variety in terms of open shelves, closed shelves, some with glasses, some without glasses, just to give again that variety, because I think the trickiest part about kitchen is when you have a kitchen and everything just looks flat and all the cabinets are the same size, same height, same everything, it just looks very static and looks very bulky, and it's not a very design grade look. So I think if you can do a variety of type of shelves, I think it will look really nice. So piggybacking on the shelves, when you have open shelves, try to add sconces on top of the shelves, just like these pictures here, because sometimes the shelf can just look empty and it needs something that's grounding it from above, and I think having the sconces will really elevate this look. You can see it over here, you can see it over here. It's just, again, these little touches. I'm not trying to renovate the whole kitchen layout, it's just things that you can add here and there that bring the whole look together. Here's another one. This is kind of basic and everybody knows about it, but yet I still don't see it in a lot of kitchens, where you can have under cabinet lighting and also a toe kick lighting. This one at the bottom here, I think it really adds an ambiance light to the kitchen and it makes it look very high-end, even though it's just a strip light that you can buy from Amazon, and you can put some tape and just stick it underneath. You can have it more integrated and sorry, you can get a little bit too passionate. You can also have it a little bit more integrated, and you can have kind of a heavy duty one underneath the cabinet, but you don't have to. If it's too late, you already moved in, but you forgot to add cabinet lights, just get the strips from Amazon and then stick it underneath. Now we're gonna move to a little bit more built-in stuff, and I think one of the things that completely turned me off about kitchen designs is having a gap above your cabinets. It drives me nuts, and I don't know who created that, but whoever did, I believe it was a mistake and just people took it as a design or a style or whatever. Whoever, this carpenter probably or a mill worker, didn't do their job and didn't measure correctly, and then they're like, oh yeah, there's a gap, we're leaving it there for a reason. No, there's no reason to leave a gap there, okay? So I want you to cover that part with whatever you have, just cover it. But if you're still in the process of designing, here's a quick way to fix that. So when you're designing and everything is from floor to, you know, above your faucet a little bit, it tends to be a little bit heavy. I agree. Just like, you know, if you're thinking about this part here, but throughout the whole kitchen, that's going to be very heavy. But what you can do is you can do a little indent. So that indent, oops, sorry. What this indent does here is it creates kind of a moment where you're recessing that kitchen cabinet, and you can also see it here. That indent there, it just creates a frame of the kitchen. So this is your kitchen cabinet and the regular plane, and then you have another plane that's going inside. Here's another one here. You can see how you have the main plane that's all one level, one plane, and then you have the recessed one. So not everything is like looking in front and just too heavy and too bulky. So here's another one. This one, actually, they left a gap here. I didn't even see that. I just saw it now, but let's pretend that it's not there. But I think here I'm just trying to show you where you can leave that gap in the middle here, recess your cabinet to the back, and that will create that front and that foreground background, and it will really make your design look less bulky. And at the same time, you're gonna take advantage of that gap in the top that you can just use, you know, your pots and stuff that you don't use very often. I think this looks very intentional. It looks very design grade. Trust me, do it and just drop the gap. Okay, so now moving on, we're gonna move to slabs. Again, this is more makes sense. This makes sense if you're doing renovation or building from the ground up. I think doing a thicker slab. Doing a thicker slab is the quickest way to show that you are having things that are very sturdy, you are having good quality marble, quartz, whatever, and it just shows that it's a little bit more expensive, even though it might, yeah, it might be expensive, but I was gonna say even though it might not be expensive, but I think it will be expensive because you are using more material, but still I think it's still worth every penny. This is, you can see the look. A lot of people don't notice these details, but trust me, once you add it, you will know it's there. Here's another one. I love this look. I think this one, it has an integrated stove, but you don't have to be that fancy, but it can be just a little bit of a thickness to the slab, and it will look really nice. And I think since I'm talking about slabs and thickness, I also want to mention something. When you do your backsplash, this is a backsplash, which is the wall that goes against your counter. Please just continue your marble, quartz, or whatever. Just continue it up. You don't have to like do a different type of tile. I'm not a big fan of a lot of busyness, and I just find it's the most elegant, sophisticated way to have a backsplash. Just continue whatever you have on your counter. One less decision to make, right? You don't have to figure out if it's gonna look good or not good with it, because it's one material. So I think it's a win-win situation. Just, you will notice it on Pinterest once you're like looking at really sophisticated high-end designs. You will see that they always continue the counter up to the backsplash. This is another one, you know, it's a little bit of thickness, and then of course it continues up. Here's another one. I think this is really nice touch. I don't know how they do it. You don't have to do it, but I think this is really nice touch that you can add to your counter if you want to add a little bit of texture. Really, really pretty. All right, so now let's move to island walls. So islands, of course, a lot of us have them, but a lot of people forget about this wall of the island. This wall of the island, it's a really good opportunity to introduce some different materials so your island just doesn't look plain. And you can see here how they are just having the counter slab match with that, or you can do something completely different where you can do the slats or some louvered panels, and then here this is even a little bit different where they have a round island, which I don't know if I'm a big fan, but it's still something. Here's another one I really like. Again, this fluted, but it's solid. It doesn't have the see-through here. I like this one better. If you want to do the fluted and if you do it round, I'm not a big fan of the gap for whatever reason. A bit distracting. Here's another one here. I think this also has the gap, but it's a little bit nicely done compared to this one. And of course, if you just don't want to do anything too sophisticated, just make sure you bring your counter down in a waterfall manner, just like this look here. Again, you're minimizing all the trims, you're minimizing all the joints, you're minimizing all these distracting things that the eye just drives the eye crazy, and it's just very smooth, everything is just very effortless how everything just wraps around. And I think I just throw in a bonus here. If you have an island and then you have chairs underneath here, you can add like a footrest underneath, like a bar style type of footrest, and you can just add it going across here. Very nice detail, very nice detail. Okay, so now we're gonna move to different type of cabinets. I think I touched a little bit on this earlier, but because I thought I didn't include it, but I think I did. So here, in terms of cabinets, a lot of time people, when they design their kitchens, they just go with one type of cabinets all throughout, and it's all solid, and because they want to just maximize all the storage. And I get it, I understand that very well, but you do have to compromise a little bit, not so much, but just a little bit. For example, if you have a lot of solid, try to introduce some glass to your cabinets. Even if you don't want to do clear glass because everything has to be so tidy, and you know we cannot always be very tidy in a kitchen, but try to have a little bit of a fluted glass or maybe frosted glass that can solve the problem by giving you more storage, but without having to expose a lot of the mess. Here's another one, the wire mesh. I really like this, and I don't see it a lot in houses, but I think it's a really nice touch to have your cabinets with a wire mesh. Here's another one with the fluted glass. Here's another one with these brass rods, so you create some open shelving. And here's another one, just for example, if you look at this example, if everything here was solid all throughout, it would just look so suffocating. But just by adding the glass with a little bit of fluted, Chef's kiss. Okay, so now we're gonna move to, well, still in cabinets, but talk about colors. You can also do two-tone cabinets. Not everything has to be the same. Again, just I'm trying to avoid a little bit of monotony in kitchens, because you're like, yeah, it's utilitarian, I just want as many cabinets, I just want one color, and just like, okay, just done. No, I think if you are, for example, can't decide between two colors, maybe you can use both. You can use like a lighter one at the top, you can use a darker one at the bottom, or your vertical ones, the tall ones, can be a little bit a different shade of wood or something. So just play a little bit with colors, and then of course if you have a designer that's doing 3D renderings for you, try as many colors and see what combination works best before committing to just one solid color. Now we're gonna move to, again, some built-in stuff, and I think a hidden pantry cabinet is very, very smart idea, and I see this all the time on Pinterest, and when I mention it to my clients, they're always like, oh my god, that's such a cool idea. I'm like, it's all over Pinterest. It's not news here, but maybe because I am just very involved in this world of design that it's very basic to me. But hidden pantry cabinets, it's just, the kitchen is already, they tend to be messy. That's just the fact of the matter, and we're not judging anybody here. We all have mess in our kitchens, but one less thing to look at. If you have a kitchen pantry and the door is already different than the rest of your cabinets, it's just one less thing to just be distracted by. So if you can just match it with your cabinet, I think it would be a really smart idea. Here is the trash pull out. So please, I don't want to see any trash cans in anybody's kitchen. Hide that thing away from my site, please, please. If you're in the middle of building your kitchen, I think you should definitely talk to your mill worker to include an integrated trash pull out. And I think this one I just saw on Pinterest. I think it's a very smart idea of having the chopping board right there when you, because I'm always like carrying this thing and then pulling it in the trash bin. I think this is very smart to just go like and then wipe it. Paneled fridge. Again, I don't want to see what type of fridge you have. Please panel that thing. I don't want to see the stainless steel, because sometimes you're like looking and everything is so pretty, and all of a sudden you see the stainless steel monstrosity, especially if you have one of those big ones with the 2 doors. Ooh, no. It just looks like a restaurant or whatever, hotel grade. No, just no. Okay, I'm not gonna try to argue with you. All right, so I think that the last 3 points here is just to avoid visual clutter. And I just want to end with this thing. Of course, we want to avoid visual clutter, but again, we don't want the kitchen to be too like a surgery room. You know, we don't want it to be too stark, too clean. You know, I do want it to have a little bit of warmth, and I think adding some decorative items, not too much, again, just a little bit, just to show that the kitchen is a little bit lived in. A little bit of, you know, a cute little vase, cute little cooking books, and, you know, some pepper and salt and grinder. Nothing too flashy, just a little details here and there that shows that you care about how the kitchen is coming off when you walk in. You want it to feel a little bit inviting and not too clean as if you just moved in. Okay, I think that was everything I wanted to cover. That felt like a marathon. I went through, I don't know, like 13 points here. So again, I just wanted to like be boom 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 so you can learn as quickly as possible and just be very practical. Again, I'm gonna leave a PDF down below regarding the summary of what I just talked about, and I'm also gonna leave a PDF of the good practices when you're designing your home. You know, how high should the pendant be, how wide the island should be, how wide or how deep the counter should be, what's the best layout that works. If you're interested in that, I'm also going to leave a link for that below. It's kind of a companion that goes with this video, so feel free to check that out. And yeah, I hope you learned a thing or two. Please leave me a comment, subscribe, share, like, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.